The code kept me alive before the cross found me. I'm not gonna pretend it didn't. Don't snitch, ride for yours, never fold. Those weren't suggestions where I came from, survival requirements. But the cross has a different code. And the day those two went to war inside me was the day I had to decide which one I actually believed in. Yo, don't snitch, but the truth shall set you free. Ride for yours, but love your enemies. Never fold, but deny yourself. Take up the cross, the code and the calling, pulling the same man in opposite directions. I grew up believing the code was on him, that loyalty to the block was the highest currency, that a man's word to his people was the closest thing sacred. Then I found something actually sacred, and the comparison cost me everything I built on the code. I lost relationships choosing to cross over the code. Lost the respect of men I respected deeply. Lost the version of myself that felt impenetrable. And some days I grieve that version, because impenetrable felt like strength. And the cross asked for something that looked like weakness from the outside. Street code versus the cross. I can't serve both masters. One says protect yourself, one says lay your life down. Street code versus the cross. The collision is real, I'm not going to dress it up like the transition was clean. It cost me naming that matters, but the cross brought something the code never could. My actual freedom. Street code versus the cross. The cross won, but I still know every line of the code, and that's the testimony. Code has a guide, it's self-preservation dressed as loyalty. Fear of being seen is soft underneath the language of honor. I know, because I spoke that language fluently. Knew when the code was wisdom and when it was just pride. Refusing to bend, cause bending looked like breaking. The cross says the greatest love lays down his life. The code says never let them see you bleed. Those are not compatible philosophies. You cannot straddle them forever. Eventually the ground between them disappears. The men who walked with Jesus left their nets. Walked away from the livelihood, the crew, the identity. Peter left the fishing boat, that was his block. Matthew left the tax booth, that was his operation. They didn't make it clean or painless. They just chose the thing that was realer than the thing they've been building. The cross asked for the nets. Street code versus the cross. I can't serve both masters. One says protect yourself, one says lay your life down. Street code versus the cross. The collision is real, I'm not gonna dress it up like the transition was clean. It cost me naming that matters, but the cross bought something the code never could. My actual freedom. Street code versus the cross. The cross won, but I still know every line of the code, and that's the testimony. I still understand the code. I'm not naive about where it came from or why it exists, but I found something stronger, something that survived, but the code couldn't survive. And I chose it. I choose it again. I choose it again. The system had us mapped out before we were born. Zip code determines school quality. School quality determines options. Options determine ceiling. Ceiling determines story, or so the system said. But the system doesn't have the final word. There's a God who writes in zip codes. The system wrote off. Yeah. We grew up in the neighborhoods that got the underfunded schools, the food deserts, the over-policed streets, the under-resourced everything. Where the infrastructure told us daily what the city thought we were worth. Where survival was the curriculum and dreaming was a luxury. The circumstances kept repossessing, but God was in the zip code. I need somebody to hear that. Not just in a suburban church with the production budget, in the project hallway where a grandmother prayed over her grandchildren, in a specific Tuesday night where the weight lifted enough for a person who been written off the scent. Somebody still sees me. Gotta overlook. He builds in the bypass zones, anoints in the addresses, the religious void. Gotta overlook. He see what the system skill counts, what the census undercounts. Knows the name on the door, everybody walk past. This is the God of Hagar in the wilderness, the God of Lazarus at the gate, the God who shows up specifically in the place of power, decided didn't matter. Gotta overlook. that's my God.
He never looked away.
Hagar got cast out, Abraham's household, Sarah's decision. No resources, dying child, no plan left. She sat down because sitting down was all that was left. And the angel of the Lord found her, that's the text. Found her in the specific wilderness, not at the temple, in a place she would discard it to. And God said, I have heard the boy, heard him in a place nobody would listen to, name the God who sees. Elroy, the only person in scripture to name God was an outsider, a servant, a cast off. That's who got to name God first. Jesus launched his ministry in Galilee,
not Jerusalem,
Galilee,
the region they call backwards.
The people they called unimportant, the religious establishment would have started at the center.
Jesus started at the margin,
because the margin was always the point. The overlooked were not the collateral, they were the assignment.
I gotta the overlook.
He deals in the bypass zones, anoints in the addresses the religious avoid.
Gotta the overlook.
He sees what the system skip, counts what the census undercounts.
Knows the name on the door, everybody walk past.
This is the God of Hagar in the wilderness, the God of Lazarus at the gate, the God who shows up specifically in the place power decided didn't matter.
Gotta the overlook.
That's my God.
He never looked away.
The zip code is not the verdict. The system's assessment is not the final word. There is a God who writes in margins, who knows your name in the neighborhood, that didn't make the budget meeting. He sees you. He always saw you.
He never looked away.
Blood in, blood out. Where I came from, that meant something absolute. You enter by blood, you leave by blood. No exits, no negotiations, no amendments. But I found a covenant that used the same language and meant something completely different by it. A covenant where only one side bled, and it wasn't mine. Every covenant in scripture gets sealed with blood, that's the pattern. Noah, Abraham, Moses, blood marks the agreement. Because blood means this is not a preference, this is permanent. Not a handshake, a death sworn oath. And the new covenant got sealed on a hill outside Jerusalem with blood that was not mine, but shed in my name. Which means I entered something I could not have afforded on my own. Got written into a covenant I had no business being in. The street covenant demands your blood as the entry fee. The blood of Christ paid the entry fee before I knew I owed it.
The street covenant
can be broken by the wrong choice. The blood covenant cannot be unmade by anything I do subsequently. Which means the God who entered it on my behalf is more committed to this than any crew I've ever rolled with. More permanent than any oath sworn over any handshake.
Blood in, blood out.
But the blood wasn't mine, he bled in so I could be written in.
Blood in, blood out.
But the out was nailed to a cross. Every sin, every exit, everything that should've removed me, absorbed into a body that didn't quit. This covenant holds where the street covenant failed me, where the loyalty faded and the brotherhood scattered.
Blood in, blood out.
His blood in, my name out, written permanent. That's the only covenant that actually holds. Ay, I've been in agreements that felt unbreakable until they broke. Felt the specific pain of a sworn oath treated like a suggestion. Every human covenant has a ceiling. I found every one of them. Found a height at which brotherhood stops being brotherhood. Found a temperature at which loyalty melts. But the blood of Jesus has no ceiling. I've been able to find no condition fine printed underneath the oath. No threshold of failure that triggers an exit clause. Romans 8 went through the entire list. Death, life, angels, rulers, present, future, things above, things below. Nothing in all creation can separate me from this love. That's not poetry, that's a covenant term. The prodigal came back rehearsing an amended agreement. Let me be a servant, renegotiate the terms. The father didn't renegotiate, ran before the speech was finished. The covenant wasn't broken by the far country. The robe and the ring were already waiting. Which means the exit you took didn't void the covenant. It was always still in effect.
Blood in, blood out.
But the blood wasn't mine, he bled in so I could be written in.
Blood in, blood out.
But the out was nailed to a cross. Every sin, every exit, everything that should've removed me, absorbed into a body that didn't quit. This covenant holds where the street covenant failed me, where the loyalty faded and the brotherhood scattered.
Blood in, blood out.
His blood in, my name out, written permanent. That's the only covenant that actually holds. I've been in a lot of agreements. This is the only one where the other party has never broken terms. Not once. I'm covered by blood I didn't shed, written in by a hand I didn't earn. Blood impermanent, that's the covenant. This is the song nobody wants to write. I almost didn't. Because there are people whose sin is so specific, so damaging, that grace for them feels like an insult to their victims. I understand that feeling. But the gospel doesn't ask me how I feel about its reach. It just reaches. And I had to sit with that a long time before I could say this out loud. We draw the circle of grace and put ourselves inside it. Put the people we can tolerate inside it, and leave the ones we can't stomach outside. Comfortable with a gospel that only covers comfortable sins. But the cross wasn't erected in comfortable territory. It was planted between two criminals on the public execution hill. And the man on one side mocked him, and the man on the other said, "Remember me?" And Jesus said, Today you'll be with me." He didn't ask for the full testimony first, didn't require a rehabilitation program, didn't say let's revisit after you've demonstrated change. He said today to a man with no time left to demonstrate anything, which means the grace operates at a speed and reach I am not the authority over.
Nobody prays for the predator.
I understand why the wound is too specific, the damage is too named.
Nobody prays for the predator.
But the gospel doesn't ask permission. It reaches past our comfort into the places we've written off. This is the grace that offends the ones who earned it. This is the love that makes no sense by any human accounting.
Nobody prays for the predator.
Maybe that's exactly where the prayer needs to go. Not to excuse, to release, to trust that justice and mercy belong to the same God. Paul held coats at Stephen stoning, approved of the killing, dragged believers from houses, made havoc of the church by every measure of justice. Paul was the predator. Then the road to Damascus happened, and the man who breathed threats against the church became the man who wrote half of what we quote from the pulpit. That's not comfortable, it shouldn't be. It should disturb our neat categories of who's too far gone for the reach. I'm not saying justice doesn't matter, it does. I'm not saying accountability is optional, it isn't. I'm saying the gospel has never asked for my list of exceptions, has never stopped at the door to sin. I can't stomach my comfort with grace. It's not the measure of the grace. Jonah sat outside Nineveh furious because God forgave the people Jonah needed to stay condemned. He'd rather die than watch grace reach that far. And God said, should I not care for this city? That question is still in the text, still pointing at the places we'd rather the gospel didn't go.
Nobody prays for the predator.
I understand why the wound is too specific, the damage is too named.
Nobody prays for the predator.
But the gospel doesn't ask permission. It reaches past our comfort into the places we've written off. This is the grace that offends the ones who earned it. This is the love that makes no sense by any human accounting.
Nobody prays for the predator.
Maybe that's exactly where the prayer needs to go. Not to excuse, to release, to trust that justice and mercy belong to the same God. I don't have a clean ending for this one. The tension is supposed to stay. If you're comfortable by the end, I didn't do my job. Grace is offensive. That's how you know it's real. He didn't find me in a pew. He found me in the worst version of my address. In the specific room I'm too ashamed to name out loud. And he didn't wait for me to clean it up first. He came in. That's the part that undoubts me every time I tell it. he came in. I was deep in it when the conviction came. Not tiptoeing, fully in both feet. No daylight between me and the dark. Running product, running from myself, running from the virgin. My mother prayed over every night without ceasing. Her prayers were working on the delay I couldn't see. The seed she planted at a kitchen table in 1994, germinating underground while I live like none of it was real. God didn't announce himself dramatically. No blinding light, no audible voice, no Damascus moment. Just a Tuesday where something in me got tired. Where the life I was building felt like a sentence. Where the money, the power, the respect all felt like furniture in a burning building. And the exit became more important than the inventory.
Trap house testimony.
That's where he found me. Not cleaned up, not ready, not anywhere near deserving.
Trap house testimony.
He walked through the door I was hiding behind. Said I know what's in here and I came anyway. This is the gospel for the address. Nobody sends missionaries to the floor. God gets on his knees on the room. The religious walk past.
Trap house testimony.
I'm the proof. He finds you where you are,
Not where you're supposed to be.
The church version of salvation is clean, altar call, heads bowed. The street version is messier, it happens in stages. First the hunger, then the doubt that the hunger is real. Then the one person who doesn't flinch at your full foul. In the moment you test the grace and it holds. Then the slow rebuilding from materials nobody else would've kept. I brought all of it to the altar eventually. The record, the reputation, the specific sins with specific names, and none of it disqualified the call. The same God who found me in the worst address had already drafted the assignment before he found me there, which means the address was in the plan, not the sin. The address, the location was part of the qualification. Red was in the business when the spies came. Still in it, not recovered, not reformed, yeah. And God used our household as a salvation point for his people entering the promised land. God doesn't wait for you to clean up the house before he puts a cord in the window. He works with what's in the room. He works with what's in the room. That's where you found me, not cleaned up, not ready, not anywhere near deserving.
Trap house testimony.
He walked through the door I was hiding behind. Said I know what's in here and I came anyway. This is the gospel for the address. Nobody sends missionaries to the floor. God gets on his knees on the room. The religious walk past.
Trap house testimony.
I'm the proof. He finds you where you are,
Not where you're supposed to be.
I tell the full address now, not the glorified, because somebody needs to know God has your address too. The worst version of it. And he's already on his way.